Rosemary Rowland stood before the mirror in her mansion, removing her pearl necklace. The weight of it suddenly felt unbearable. 3 months since her husband's death, and the loneliness had teeth. But loneliness wasn't what kept her awake at night. Her son Caleb was returning next week to take over Rowland Industries, the company his father built from nothing. And Rosemary had seen what wealth did to people. How it turned love into transaction. She'd raised Caleb to be kind. But kindness made you vulnerable to the wrong kind of people. That's when the idea struck her. Dangerous. Unconventional. Perfect. If she wanted to know who deserved her son, she needed to see people when they thought nobody important was watching. The next morning, Rosemary walked through the employee entrance of Rowland Industries wearing a borrowed uniform and cheap sandals. Her gray-streaked hair was tied back. No jewelry. No makeup. Just another invisible woman society trained people not to see. The head of HR barely glanced at her paperwork. Cleaning staff reports to the 10th floor. Don't bother the executives. Rosemary smiled. I won't be any trouble. The 10th floor buzzed with young professionals. Expensive shoes clicked on marble. Perfume mixed with ambition hung in the air. Behind their desks sat 3 women who immediately caught Rosemary's attention. Ella Monroe commanded the space near the window. Beautiful, sharp-eyed, designer everything. She spoke to people the way a queen addresses peasants. Bianca sat beside her, quieter but watching everyone with calculated interest. A follower looking for advantage. And then there was Lena. Lena worked at the corner desk, the one with the flickering light nobody had bothered to fix. Her clothes were clean but worn. Her posture said she was used to making herself small. But when she smiled at the male clerk, something genuine flickered there. Something rare. Rosemary pushed her cleaning cart closer, moving slowly, watching. Excuse me. Lena's voice was soft. You dropped this. Rosemary looked down. Her ID badge had slipped from her pocket. She'd done it on purpose. But Lena had noticed. Had stopped her work to help. Thank you, dear, Rosemary said, taking the badge. You're new? Lena asked. If you need anything, I'm usually here. The coffee machine breaks a lot and the supply closet key sticks. Just so you know. Before Rosemary could respond, a sharp voice cut through the moment. Cleaner. My desk. Now. Ella stood with her arms crossed, a coffee stain spreading across important-looking papers on her desk. The cup lay on its side, clearly knocked over deliberately. Rosemary approached with her supplies. I'll take care of it. You certainly will, Ella said loud enough for everyone to hear. And maybe next time watch where you're pushing that cart. You almost hit my desk earlier. Rosemary hadn't been anywhere near Ella's desk. But she said nothing, just cleaned the spill while Ella complained to Bianca about the incompetence of some people, and why the company hires such careless help. From her corner, Lena watched. Her jaw tightened. But she turned back to her screen, staying silent. The pattern repeated throughout the morning. Ella sent Rosemary to fetch coffee 3 times, then complained it was wrong each time. Bianca accidentally knocked papers off her desk for Rosemary to pick up. Other employees followed their lead, testing how far they could push the new cleaner. Only Lena offered her chair during lunch when Rosemary's feet ached. Only Lena said thank you when Rosemary emptied her trash bin. By the end of the first day, Rosemary had learned more than she expected. She'd learned that Ella ruled the office through fear and charm, switching between them like outfits. That Bianca would betray anyone for Ella's approval. That most people became smaller versions of themselves in the presence of cruelty, choosing silence over risk. But Lena was different. That evening, Rosemary overheard Ella on the phone in the bathroom, unaware anyone was in the stall. Caleb Rowland arrives next week, Ella said, her voice dripping with calculation. The son. Single. Inheriting everything. I've done my research. He's been abroad for 3 years, completely out of the social scene. Which means he doesn't know who's who yet. Perfect timing. Pause. Of course I'll get close to him. I didn't spend 4 years in this boring company to leave empty-handed. Once I'm Mrs. Rowland, I'll never have to pretend to care about quarterly reports again. Bianca's laugh echoed. What about that mouse, Lena? She's been here longer. What if he notices her? Lena. Ella's tone turned poisonous. That charity case? Please. She can barely afford decent clothes. No, the only person I need to worry about is making sure Caleb sees me first, sees me right. And I always get what I want. In the bathroom stall, Rosemary closed her eyes. So it begins, she thought. But what Ella didn't know, what none of them knew, was that the cleaner scrubbing their floors held all the power. And she was about to make this game very interesting. The next morning, Rosemary arrived early. She placed a small, expensive pen on Lena's desk, the kind executives carried, engraved with the company logo. Then she waited. When Lena arrived and saw it, confusion crossed her face. He picked it up, looked around, then immediately walked to HR. I found this on my desk, Lena told the manager. It's not mine. Someone must have left it by mistake. Rosemary, mopping nearby, smiled to herself. Test number 2. Integrity when no one's watching. Lena had passed. But across the office, Ella watched with narrowed eyes. She'd seen the pen, seen Lena return it. And in that moment, something dangerous sparked in Ella's expression. She pulled out her phone, typed quickly, then smiled in a way that made Rosemary's stomach tighten. Whatever Ella was planning, it had just begun. And Rosemary realized with sudden clarity, protecting Lena might require revealing more than she'd planned. Because in this tower of glass and greed, goodness made you a target. The war for Caleb's future had officially started. And only one woman knew all the players. If you think Lena deserves better, subscribe so you don't miss what happens when Caleb finally arrives. Ella was plotting something. Lena had no idea she'd become a target. And Mrs. Rowland, still disguised as a cleaner, was about to discover just how far greed could push a person. What happened next would test everything. The envelope appeared on Lena's desk 3 days later. Thick, expensive paper. No name on it. Lena opened it during her lunch break, alone at her desk as usual. Inside were 20 crisp bills. More money than she made in 2 months. And a note in printed letters. Leave the company by Friday. No questions. This is your only offer. Her hands trembled as she read it twice. Rosemary watched from across the room, emptying a trash bin she'd already emptied. She'd seen Ella slip the envelope onto Lena's desk an hour earlier, a cruel smile playing at her lips. This was test number 3. And Rosemary hadn't arranged it. Ella had. Lena stared at the money for a long moment. Her younger brother needed school fees. Her mother's medication had doubled in price. The landlord had threatened eviction twice this month. This money would solve everything. At least for now. Bianca appeared beside her desk, clearly sent by Ella to watch. Whoa. Someone's lucky day. What's that for? Lena's jaw tightened. She slid the money back into the envelope, sealed it, and stood up. I don't know who left this, Lena said clearly, but I'm not for sale. She walked straight to HR and handed over the envelope. Someone left this on my desk. Feels wrong. I think you should know. Bianca's eyes widened. She rushed back to Ella's desk, whispering urgently. Rosemary felt warmth spread through her chest. Even desperate, Lena chose integrity. But Ella's expression had turned to stone. That afternoon, the office atmosphere shifted. Became colder. Ella stopped pretending to be civil. She criticized Lena's work loudly during meetings. Corrected reports that didn't need correction. Made jokes that weren't quite jokes about people who don't know their place. Bianca joined in eagerly. Others, sensing the social shift, either participated or looked away. Only Lena kept her head down and continued working. And only Rosemary saw Ella slip into the server room during lunch, when everyone had left the floor. Rosemary followed quietly, her cleaning cart providing perfect cover. Through the small window in the door, she watched Ella pull out a flash drive, plug it into the main computer, and begin typing rapidly. Her face glowed in the screen's light, concentrated and calculating. After 10 minutes, Ella unplugged the drive, checked the hallway, and left. Rosemary's blood ran cold. Whatever Ella had just done, it wasn't good. That evening, Rosemary made a phone call from her real phone in her real home, surrounded by her real life. I need you to monitor all financial transactions in the company system, she told her late husband's most trusted IT specialist. Specifically anything connected to employee accounts. And I need the security footage from the 10th floor saved to a private server. All of it. Don't let anyone delete anything. Mrs. Rowland, is something wrong? Something's about to be, she said quietly. And I need to be ready. Monday morning arrived with nervous energy humming through Rowland Industries. Caleb Rowland was coming home. Ella had prepared for weeks. New wardrobe. Strategic desk placement near the executive elevator. Rehearsed casual conversation starters. She'd even learned his university achievements, his favorite authors, the charities he'd supported abroad. She was ready to become exactly what he'd want. Bianca hovered nearby, ready to support whatever play Ella made. And Lena, unaware of any of it, simply worked. Rosemary positioned herself near the elevator, pushing her cart slowly, her heart suddenly nervous. She hadn't seen her son in 3 months. Hadn't held him since the funeral. The elevator chimed. Caleb stepped out and Rosemary's breath caught. He'd grown thinner. Grief had carved new lines around his eyes. But he stood tall, carried himself with his father's quiet strength. When he smiled at the receptionist, it was genuine despite the sadness underneath. "Welcome back, Mr. Rowland," the receptionist said. "Thank you. It's good to be home." His voice was deeper than Rosemary remembered. Steadier. He walked toward the executive offices and employees scrambled to look busy, to be noticed, to make impressions. Ella positioned herself perfectly in his path, dropping a folder just as he approached. "Oh, I'm so sorry," she said, bending to collect papers. Caleb stopped, crouched down to help. "No problem. Let me." Their hands met over a document. Ella looked up through her lashes, smile calculated to seem surprised and natural. "Thank you, Mr. Rowland. I'm Ella Monroe, Senior Account Manager. Your father spoke highly of you. Did he?" Caleb's smile was polite but didn't reach his eyes. He handed her the papers and stood. "That's kind of you to say." As Ella tried to extend the conversation, movement caught Caleb's attention. Across the office, someone was helping the cleaning woman pick up supplies that had fallen from her cart. The helper was a young woman in a simple dress, speaking quietly to the cleaner with genuine concern. "Are you all right? That cartwheel looks broken. Here, let me help you to the supply room. We can probably find a replacement." The cleaner, his mother though he didn't know, smiled with real warmth. "You're very kind, dear. It's nothing. Come on." Caleb watched them disappear around the corner, something about the interaction striking him as noteworthy in a place that suddenly felt very performative. "Mr. Rowland?" Ella's voice had an edge now. He turned back, refocusing. "Sorry. Long flight. I should get to my office." He moved past her, leaving Ella standing there with her prepared speech unspoken. Bianca appeared at her elbow. "He barely looked at you." "He will," Ella said through her teeth. "He just needs time to settle. Then I'll make my move." But her eyes tracked where Caleb had looked. Toward Lena. And something dark settled in Ella's expression. 2 days later the alarm went off. Friday afternoon, just before closing, the finance director burst from his office, face red with panic. "Someone's been stealing from the company accounts. 50,000, moved in small transactions over 3 weeks." Chaos erupted. Employees froze at their desks. "Who has access to the financial system?" Caleb demanded. Suddenly all business. The IT department pulled records. 5 names appeared on the access list. Lena's was one of them. "I don't understand," Lena said, standing shakily. "I only have basic access for expense reports. I can't move money." "The logs say otherwise," the IT supervisor said, looking confused. "Your credentials were used to authorize these transfers." Ella stepped forward, face carefully concerned. "Lena, if you needed money you could have asked for a loan. I didn't do this." Lena's voice cracked. "I would never." "Check the CCTV," Caleb said sharply. "Server room footage from the past 3 weeks." The IT supervisor's face went pale. "Sir, there's a problem. The footage from the 10th floor server room is missing. Completely wiped. All 3 weeks." Silence fell like a hammer. Every eye turned to Lena. The police arrived within an hour. "Ms. Lena, you need to come with us for questioning." "No, please, I didn't." Tears streamed down Lena's face as they put handcuffs on her wrists. "I swear I didn't steal anything." Rosemary stood frozen by her cleaning cart, her heart shattering. She wanted to scream the truth, to stop this, to reveal everything. But not yet. Not like this. If she revealed herself now, she'd never know who else was involved. Never know how deep Ella's corruption ran. And Ella would escape justice on technicalities. She met Lena's eyes across the office. Lena's expression wasn't anger. Just devastation. Betrayal by a world that had always been unfair. As the police led her away, Caleb stood rigid, conflicted. Something felt wrong. But evidence was evidence. Ella watched with barely concealed triumph. And Rosemary made a decision. She pulled out her phone, texted her lawyer. "Bail her out. Immediately. Anonymously. And I need you to dig into Ella Monroe's background. Everything." That night, Lena was released on bail, confused about who had paid it. She went home to her tiny apartment and cried until she had nothing left. In her mansion, Rosemary stared at her reflection, still in her cleaning uniform. Tomorrow she'd return. Tomorrow the real test would begin. Because Ella had made a fatal mistake. She'd shown Rosemary exactly how far she'd go. And now Rosemary knew precisely what kind of person her son needed protecting from. The game had changed. Rosemary wasn't just observing anymore. She was hunting. Drop a comment. Do you think Caleb will believe Lena is innocent? Or will Ella's plan actually work? And if you want to see justice served, subscribe. Lena sat in a jail cell for a crime she didn't commit. Ella thought she'd won. But what nobody knew was that the cleaner watching everything had just declared war. And when a mother protects her son, nothing stays hidden for long. Lena returned to work Monday morning because she had no choice. The whispers started the moment she stepped off the elevator. Can't believe they let her come back. Probably stole more than they caught her for. Lena kept her eyes down and tried to disappear into her work. Across the office, Ella leaned back in her chair, victorious. Everything was going according to plan. Except for one thing she hadn't accounted for. The cleaner was still watching. Rosemary had spent the weekend hunting. Her lawyer delivered a file Sunday night. Ella's previous job ended with quiet resignation after financial irregularities. And she'd received a large deposit into her personal account 2 days after the company money disappeared. But Rosemary needed confession, not just evidence. Tuesday morning she approached Ella's desk. "Excuse me, Ms. Ella? I found this near the server room." She held up a flash drive with Ella's name on it. Ella's face went white. Her hand shot out, snatching it. "Where exactly did you find this?" "Just outside the server room door." Panic flickered across Ella's features. The drive was empty. Rosemary had planted it that morning. But Ella's reaction told her everything. That afternoon, Ella made urgent phone calls from the bathroom. Rosemary, cleaning nearby, heard every word. "I need you to find a blue flash drive in my apartment and destroy it. If anyone accesses what's on that drive, I'm finished. It has the original transfer records, the login bypass codes, everything." Pause. That pathetic Lena will take the fall perfectly. Desperate. Nobody will question it. By the time anyone digs deeper, I'll be Mrs. Rowland and untouchable. Rosemary's hands shook with rage as she texted her security team. "Get the blue flash drive from Ella's apartment. Now." An hour later, Caleb walked through the 10th floor, troubled. Something about the theft didn't add up. Lena's file showed 4 years without a single complaint. That didn't match someone who'd steal $50,000. He noticed the cleaning woman gesturing urgently to Lena, pressing something into her hand. "What's going on?" Caleb approached. Lena opened her palm. "A visitor's badge. Old. From 3 weeks ago. I found it in the server room this morning," Rosemary said quietly. Thought she might want to return it. Caleb took the badge, studied it. The name made his blood run cold. Ella Monroe. That's mine, Ella said quickly, appearing beside them. I must have dropped it weeks ago. You have office access, Caleb said slowly. Why would you need a visitor's badge? The IT supervisor pulled up his tablet. This badge was issued to Monroe Consulting 3 weeks ago. Same day the first transfer occurred. But there's no Monroe Consulting in our vendor database. And the signature is forged. The office went silent. Your friend won't find the flash drive, Rosemary said quietly. Ella's face drained of color. What did you say? Rosemary straightened, dropping her hunched posture. Her voice changed, clear, authoritative, educated. I said your friend won't find the blue flash drive in your apartment. Because my security team retrieved it an hour ago. The one with all the transfer records and bypass codes. She removed the cloth covering her hair. I'm Rosemary Rowland, owner of this company, and Caleb's mother. The office gasped. Caleb stood frozen. Mom. Hello, sweetheart. I'm sorry for the deception, but I needed to see the truth. Rosemary turned to Ella. I heard you in the bathroom confess to framing Lena, admit to the theft, and I have recordings of everything. Ella's legs gave out. You also confessed to targeting my son for his money. Called Lena a charity case. You failed to understand one thing. Character reveals itself when people think no one important is watching. And I was always watching. Security appeared. Ms. Monroe, the police are waiting downstairs. As they led Ella away, Rosemary turned to Lena, who sat trembling. I owe you an apology. I let you suffer to gather evidence. You paid my bail, Lena whispered. It was you. And I'll make sure all charges are dropped. Your record will be cleared completely. Tears spilled down Lena's cheeks. Relief so overwhelming it hurt. Caleb moved beside his mother, his eyes on Lena with new understanding. I'm sorry I doubted you. I'd like to offer you a promotion. Senior position. Proper salary. If you're willing to stay. Lena stared at him, speechless. Rosemary smiled. And I'd like you to join me for dinner this week. The warmth in her voice, Lena recognized it. The same kindness the cleaner had shown. The same person, just without the disguise. I'd like that, Lena managed. Later, Caleb pulled his mother aside. You pretended to be a cleaner for weeks? I needed to know who deserved to be in your life. Who was real? And Lena? Lena passed every test. Integrity when no one watched. Kindness when cruelty surrounded her. Strength when the world tried to break her. That's rare, Caleb. That's real. Caleb looked at Lena across the office. She's remarkable. What you do with that knowledge is up to you. I'm just glad I found her before someone like Ella could destroy her. 6 months later, Lena stood in Rosemary's garden wearing a simple, elegant dress, laughing at something Caleb whispered in her ear. The company thrived under leadership that valued character over performance. And Rosemary, watching her son with the woman who'd proven kindness was strength, knew her husband would be proud. Sometimes the best treasures are found in places people forget to look. Sometimes you have to become invisible to see what's real. And sometimes, love finds you not because you're perfect, but because you're true. If this story touched your heart, subscribe so you never miss how kindness wins. Comment below. What would you have done in Lena's situation? Thank you very much for watching.